said it was after the game because this is when they give you the MVP award. They give Dan Devine
really?
the trophy. And that is so weird, though, when you think about it, that they would have an award ceremony after the game with coats and ties and Coach Graves.
Yeah, I guess it was after the
Yeah.
game. Yeah, there's the runner-up trophy.
Trophy. And there is. I
MVP.
think you're still the only player on the losing team to win the MVP.
Yeah.
Look how young you were, man. Another Dooley Noted podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill in Celebration Point. Okay, welcome into another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. Today's show, Coach Spurrier will be back. He'll be here today. And, of course, we'll have Robbie Andrew on for Yes, No Way, or Maybe. And then on Thursday, we'll have Matt McCall, and that'll be great. Of course, former Gator assistant who's doing a lot of radio work now and kind of an expert analyst. And we'll talk to him about the Gators and how they've done this year. This is my favorite time of the year for a lot of reasons. One is the basketball tournaments. And I say tournaments because I'll be watching every minute I can of the SEC tournament and the ACC tournament and some other tournaments. Obviously, the big dance coming up. The Players is coming up. We're not that far away from Augusta. And most importantly, daylight savings time, man. It is huge for me. Today, when I woke up, I had to do something at 7:30, and I was like, it's still dark out. I go, I can live with that. What I like is longer nights. And that makes life better because you get to play golf later. So we'll see if we get to do that. All right, let's start on our Royal Blues starting five. We appreciate Randy Royal. In fact, Randy he wanted me to put this out there that he's got a great fishing boat for sale if you're interested in being involved in that. That's a pretty cool bull gator boat. I wouldn't mind that. He's welcome to deliver it. Although it goes for $409.90, but $900, I should say. So I don't know that I could buy it. I just couldn't do anything else the rest of my life. But I know there's a lot of people out there with way more money than I have. So if you want to get involved with Randy, you know where to reach him over there in Palaca. Okay, let's get to our Royal Blues starting five. The number one thing is the seniors going out with a bang. That was certainly exactly what you wanted. I thought it was really cute moment when they were coming off the court and waving to the fans and everything, and they were able to take them out. That's what you want. And I talked about this in my Back Nine column on WRUF.com, that I was nervous before the game because I'm nervous before every game because this league is really good. There's not – like I was talking to Mark Wise about this the other day. Every team's got a stud on it. And there's no team that doesn't have a great player. I mean, Colin Murray-Boyles is a great player. He's playing for a team that just can't find ways to win games. Even the game against Georgia the other day, which Mark actually was doing. He was keeping them in the game, but then they just didn't have enough. You can go down the list. I mean, Cam somebody at LSU. They're terrible, but he's really good. Everybody's got a great player, and some people have two, and some people have three. Some people like Florida. I would go with four. I may go five deep as far as great players, guys that can beat you, guys that you have to play against. And the interesting thing to me was what Chris Beard said. It wasn't shocking, but after the game he said, look, Billy has constructed a great lineup. He has done a great job of recruiting, done a great job in the portal, and they've just built this great lineup, which is what we've been saying all along. But he also said, when your best guard and your best big man dominate the game, you're not going to be able to beat them. And that's the thing. It was Condon and obviously and Walter who got it done in this game. But it might not be them next time. It could be Houck and Will Richard. It may be. So, I mean, that's the great thing about this team. It's why they're so much fun to watch. I think I said this in my column too. Nobody needs to worry about the SEC tournament right now. I mean, the players do. They need to think about it. It's their job. The coaches do. But you as fans need to spend a couple of days just enjoying what happened this year and reflecting on it and maybe calling up highlights on your phone, on YouTube and stuff like that. This team went 27-4 in a year. Nobody thought they were going 27-4. 14-4 in the SEC. 14-4 in the toughest conference in America. And there's no question the SEC is the best conference. I think it's really important to just enjoy that moment. And, you know, Mark again, is always saying, you know, enjoy the ride. And I don't know that I did, because I never do. I never enjoy the ride. I always am worried about what they're going to do, but I'm sure a lot of you did enjoy the ride, and it was a fun ride. It's been a fun ride. Now, I mean, they're done playing the O-Dome. They're done playing road games. It's all going to be about the tournaments coming up, and, you know, we'll get into that eventually, but it's going to be interesting, and certainly what a year it's been. It's just been amazing. It's just been so much fun. All right, let us move on to number 2, which is the SEC tournament. For those of you who don't know, the brackets came out. They finally finalized them. At one point, I thought Florida would have to play Kentucky on Friday night. And, like, I'm not afraid of Kentucky. Don't get me wrong. It's just I'd rather lose to somebody other than Kentucky if you lose. If you told me Florida will beat Kentucky, would I take that? Yeah, then I would like to play. But anyway, they won't see them until the semifinal if they get both of them get that far. But they play. Okay, Mississippi State and LSU play on Wednesday, and then on Thursday the winner goes and plays Missouri. And then a Missouri team, by the way, that's lost 3 out of the last 4 games. So I mean, Mississippi State Missouri is going to be an entertaining game. And Missouri, both those teams have studs all over the place. And then if Missouri, whoever wins that game, Florida will play them 7:00 on Friday. But it's usually you want to wait. You don't even get excited about this tournament until all the top seeds come in, the 1, 2, 3, 4 come in and start playing in it, which is on Friday. But I don't think that's the case this year. In fact, I'm fired up about Wednesday. There's implications to be had there, and certainly Thursday there's a lot. Although I do think almost all the SEC teams that are going to the dance don't have anything to worry about. There's a couple that do. I think Oklahoma does. I don't think Georgia does. I think Georgia is in no matter what. They can go one and done and be in. So I don't know who anybody else. Maybe Texas. But, I mean, it's phenomenal what this league's been able to do this year. And it's just pretty amazing when you think about how good the league has been. And it's going to break the record. The record was 11 by the Big East a few years ago. But it's going to be 13. Now, I will say this, at least 13. Maybe 12. It could be 12. But it's not going to be any less than 12. I know that. It could be anywhere between 12 and 14. But it's going to be a great tournament. It's one of, I think I said this last week. I don't miss much about working at the newspaper, but I do miss going to this tournament because I loved it. I love being there. I love being around it. Love being in Nashville. It's always been a lot of fun. I loved when it was in Atlanta. It was still fun. Okay, so let's go to number 3 on our Royal Blue starting 5, brought to you by Randy Royal at Royal Blue, and that is gymnastics. I want to give them some love because I watched that gymnastics meet on my laptop because it was on the Plus only, I think. So I watched it on my laptop. And them winning was important for them, but it was important for me too because that meant they swept Alabama for the week. They beat Alabama on 3 straight nights in 3 different sports, 2 of them in Tuscaloosa. And gymnastics wrapping that up and that was a big win for them. I mean, they're about to end their season. It's coming up to the end. They play Kentucky at home on Friday. They tumble against them. And then you go right into the SEC championships. But they've had a lot of injuries. Obviously, they had Sloan Blakely is out for the year. DiCello hasn't even been able to compete this year. So she's out for the year. They've had a lot of injuries like that, but they got a lot of depth, and they keep fighting. And to win like that against Alabama and put up a good score, I'm very proud of Jenny Rowland and the young ladies for doing such a great job. And it was fun to watch because they were really hitting everything, especially on the beam. And let's move along to number 4 on our Royal Blue starting 5, and that is baseball. I don't know who's the weatherman is over there, but look, this is what happens. Weather in Gainesville, we never can do. But Sunday would have been a better day to play than Saturday. And I know they ended up playing a doubleheader Saturday, and I know Sully loved that they played a doubleheader Saturday because he didn't have to use as many arms and could move along to especially 7-inning doubleheader and have an extra day of rest before they have to go play what is a brutal schedule this week at FSU and then at Tennessee Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's going to be rough. A lot of guys really came up big. Bobby Boser, grand slam. But again, Harvard's pitching is good. Harvard's ERA was 12 coming in, 12 something. It went up two runs. That's how bad they pitch. They didn't pitch that bad the first night because Florida got up 7-0 and then kind of petered out. But after that, they just weren't very good. But now it really gets real. I know that Miami was a big series, but look, it's about to get really real because you got to go on the road. If you can somehow go 2-2 in these games, I'd take it right now. I'd take it and we'll just take the day off. Rain out. We'll get Crash Davis to come in from Bull Durham and put the field underwater so you don't have to play. I'll take 2-2, but we're about to find out. And I don't want to say we're about to find out how good this team is because sometimes when you say that and then they go 1-3 in these 4 games or 0-4, which they could, and you go, well, they must not be very good. It's a long season. We all know that. It's baseball. Baseball is always a long season, no matter what level you're at. You play a lot of games and a lot of days. So don't get too down on them, but we're still going to be excited about this, and it's going to be a lot of fun this week with all these great games going on. And finally, on number 5 on our Royal Blue starting 5, as we like to do on Mondays, Steve and Christine Wendig from Bossart Realty present The Circle. And this is where we look at what happened in softball. Now, softball lost the opener on an error, and that was brutal loss. And we've got more softball stuff coming up, believe me, as we go along forward. But so I was just down. I mean, I was just down because they lost that game. And I'm like, maybe they're not as good as we thought. Next thing you know, they run roll Texas A&M and then come back and beat them the last day. So they win the series against, I think they were number 5 in the country, against Texas A&M. And that's big to win. You want to win every series. In this league, winning the series is, I mean, we all want to sweep everybody, right? But just winning the series is important. Bobby Cox taught me that a long time ago. But it's really, their schedule is really interesting going forward. Oh, by the way, I want to mention that Mia Williams, big home run in that to give Florida the lead in the Sunday game at 3-2, and then they got another run in and ended up winning 4-2. But this is going to be an interesting week for them too because they get UCF on Wednesday. UCF just took a series from number 4 Arizona at Arizona. So this ain't chopped liver coming in here, youngsters. And then they play Texas, which is 24-1. It's one of those Saturday, Sunday, Monday weekends, so the SEC can get all your games on. But it's going to be a huge. And again, I don't want to say we're going to find out how good they are, but we're going to have a better idea. It's the same with baseball. You find out more. Now in football, sometimes you know when you watch certain games coming up and you watch it and you go, okay, they're not that good, or they are even better than I thought. Basketball this year, I think we had a lot of games like that where you go, let's see what they do on the road against Auburn. Well, maybe they're pretty good. Let's see what they do on the road against Alabama. Oh, man, they're really good. With baseball and softball, the seasons are so long, you can't get too much into it. But hey, look, trying to win the division, try to win the league. It's an important series, especially because it's at home against Texas. So that is our Steve and Christine Wendig present The Circle. I did want to mention one other thing because I wrote this in the margins because I didn't mention it before. Concerning the basketball team, everybody's got them going to Raleigh, and they have Duke going to Raleigh too, and Duke will go to Raleigh. But I was a little bit confused because I'm like, well, how can you have 2 number 1s in the same place? Well, they're totally different pods. They have nothing to do with each other. They're not even going to play each other until they get to the final, if Florida ends up a 1 seed. But the the thing you have to understand is that the 1 seeds get preferential treatment. Now, the other thing is you get to pick where you go in the first round. You get to pick which regional you want. And I'm sure that Duke is going to take, if Duke gets the first pick, they'll take the Atlanta regional. Now, we're talking about regionals. We're talking about Sweet 16 or Elite 8. If Auburn ends up number 1, and like if they win some games in the tournament, I don't know who's going to be 1. I mean, a lot of people say Auburn's number 1 no matter what. They've got 16 quad 1 wins. Nobody's even close to that. So if they end up number 1, they'll take Atlanta. They want their fans to be able to come to Atlanta, and then we'll see where Duke would end up going. And it's Newark, San Francisco, and I'm blanking on the last one. But anyway. Wherever it is, Florida, even if they're the 1, would probably pick 4th. So I started thinking about it. What if Florida wins the tournament? Wins the SEC tournament? Do they jump over Houston to become a 1 seed? Because that would be an incredible, the best conference. And they would have been you could argue one of the best teams, if not the best team in the conference. And I think they would jump over Houston and get a pick earlier. So they wouldn't have to go to the San Francisco's regional, and then they could just go to the whatever else is left. I mean, Newark, I don't know if you'd be that excited about going to Newark, and again, then it's very complicated how all this works. But if Florida does end up a 1 seed, they'll be able to say we want to go to Raleigh for the first and second round. And that's, I think, what they would do. And again, if Duke and Florida both end up there, that's the way it works, man. I mean, nobody's going to complain. It's not like they're going to play each other, but it's interesting to me that you would have a regional with 2 number 1s. But I've talked to several people who said this has happened before. I just don't remember it happening, but I'm sure it has happened before. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back with Coach Spurrier, and of course, Robbie Andrew will come up as well. We're looking forward to talking to Coach about all the basketball stuff and golf stuff that's going on here on another Duly Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. Hey, I'm Pat Dooley, and I'm using a sterile compounded medication prescribed through BMI TeleMed. The medication contains the same active pharmaceutical ingredient as FDA-approved Wegovy, but is compounded with vitamin B6 to help with nausea, with some patients experience to some degree. My prescription comes from a licensed sterile compounding pharmacy, which is regulated by the Florida Department of Health and Board of Pharmacy. Compounded medications like mine are an alternative option when manufactured brands are in shortage or unavailable for many patients through their healthcare plans. Look, it worked for me once. I'm trying it again.
Great food, great atmosphere, a diverse menu, everything made from scratch, plenty of space, and locally owned. These are all the characteristics of a great restaurant, and you can find each and every one of them right here in Gainesville at Ballyhoo Grill. Ballyhoo Grill prepares all of their food fresh every day, from their salad dressing to their award-winning soups. Bring your family and enjoy dinner under the Tim Trebo Tiki Hut while listening to live music. Or if you're running low on time to eat out, they also deliver through Uber Eats, Spite Squad, and Postmates. A Gainesville staple that's been open for over 30 years. Check out Ballyhoo Grill on Facebook or at ballyhoogrill.com.
At Royal Blue, we use such tools as AI, bulk email marketing, trade shows, Google search advertising, and multiple websites. We take a much more proactive approach to getting your boat sold in a timely manner. With our extensive client list and broker-dealer network, we can track down vessels that might be perfect for you and your family, that may not even be listed for sale yet, giving you the right of first refusal. We have spent the last 15 years in boat sales, observing and listening to our clients. In response to our findings, we have constructed a custom yacht brokerage that strives to fit their needs and not ours. Call us today to schedule a consultation to see what Royal Blue can do to solve all of your boating needs. Call Randy at 850-974-1294. Okay, welcome back to another Duly Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging from the Meldon Law Gator Studios here at Steve Spurrier's. And, of course, he is Steve Spurrier. He's also sponsored by Meldon Law, and we appreciate him being here. We're glad you're back, Coach, because we were worried about you last week.
Yeah, I was on an airplane this time last week. I had a little speaking gig I had to go do in Atlantic City, New Jersey.
Wow.
So, fortunately, all the airlines were on time, and I got back the next night, actually a little earlier than I thought.
What'd you tell them?
Oh, I talk about how Duke and Florida and South Carolina went from losers to winners, pretty much.
They did.
Or not big losers, but how we were able to, win some championships, things like that. That's always seems to be interesting to most people.
Yep, absolutely. Also, another big event here tonight at Steve Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, the DJ Lagway Foundation, and that was really cool what he did. He gave 6 figures, I don't know how much exactly, but 6 figures from his Florida Victorious Fund to women's athletics in Florida. I think he's dating a softball player, but
You heard 6 figures? I heard 5. I heard it was about 10 grand or so.
It said 6, but
it did. Oh.
Well, hey,
That's
whatever
$100 grand if he did that.
That's right, at minimum.
I heard 10 grand, but that's debatable, I guess.
Well, he still gave something.
Oh, yeah, it's very nice of him. Very, and he's a wonderful guy.
Yeah.
And, all these quarterbacks and high-profile college football players, they're all got big money now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not even, just a little bit here, there, and the other. Whereas the women's sports, if they can get 8 or 10 grand a year, that's probably sometimes the limit.
That's right, and this whole thing with the that's going to come down from where the NCAA is going to be liable, but Florida's got to pay it out. But most of that money, if not all of it's going to go to football, and then they've got to go, basketball, golf, everything. They've got to go to their individual sponsors and get them to do it. But I know tonight's a lot about NIL too, so we'll see how that goes. All right, let's talk a little basketball. You've been to a lot of games, I know, this year, and watched this team play. It is a fun team to watch, isn't it?
It really is, and the effort that they play with, defense is really good. And then, of course, we can shoot. We got a whole bunch of guys, big, tall guys that can make threes, and then, of course, Clayton Jr., he's really a good player also. And they play so well together.
Yep.
So you got to give Coach Todd a lot of credit, and his assistant coaches. All those guys coach. And then the whole team, they really play as a team. So it's going to be interesting when the big tournament starts.
It is.
Where we got the conference tournament
The conference
this
tournaments,
week,
and then it starts Tuesday.
that.
After that. Yeah, well, they were talking about this on the broadcast, which believe me, I was getting angry at the broadcast because first of all, it didn't come on for a long time, and they said go to SEC Plus. But if you went to SEC Plus, it was showing you the game that was on the SEC network, which was the wrong game. And then they talked for 10 minutes about the bubble, and I got fed up with it. But they were talking about Hartman may end up going somewhere. Somebody may come after him. He's been the big man guy, and think about how Alex Condon has certainly blossomed. How Thomas Houck, who didn't have a lot of offers, blossomed. All those guys have really done well under him. But it's going to be fun. What if we get to a Duke Florida final? That would be something, wouldn't it?
Duke,
2 of your 3 schools.
Yeah, Duke and Florida in the top 5, I guess, right now.
Top 4, yeah.
Yeah, the Duke North Carolina game was a good one.
I watched that. Yeah.
Week. Tar Heels hung with them till about the middle of the third quarter or second half somewhere.
Yeah, they actually had the lead there, and I was like, "Oh, this is great." Because I watched nothing but basketball all day and golf all day. I had 3 TVs going, so it was really fun to watch all those games. But that game was really good. But that Cooper Flagg guy, man, it's so funny because he wasn't scoring in this game, and he kept blocking shots. I'm like, he can do everything. It's going to be an interesting race to see who ends up winning that. And I know you also watch your South Carolina women win a SEC championship.
Yeah, they've won 3 in a row. Gosh, I thought they'd won about 8 in a row, it seems like. But just 3 in a row. But I think the Tennessee Lady Vols have done that twice when Coach Summit was there. Not recently, though. But, that's pretty neat. And they'll be ready to make a deep run and try to win it all in the national championship here next coming weeks.
Absolutely. I know you have a Pat Summit letter up there on the wall over there.
Yeah, Coach Summit was a pretty good friend of ours, I guess. And, of course, her records I don't think will ever be broken at Tennessee.
Pretty amazing.
But Dawn Staley, she might get some of her records at the pace she's going right now.
Oh, I know. And like she's still pretty young. I mean, she's going to be around for a while. By the way, I wanted to show you this video that somebody sent me. and said it'd be cool if you showed this when Coach Spurrier is on the show. And here you are in the Sugar Bowl, 1965, throwing a touchdown pass to Charlie Casey. Nice catch there, yeah. Obviously, the finish of it didn't, but look how grainy and everything it is. And you go for 2 here. This didn't work out. But they were in your face. Yeah, you had to throw it up for grabs there.
We tried we tried 2 2-point plays, and then we tried a fake extra point play. It didn't work. Yeah,
the funny thing
we just started making up plays right there at the end. We didn't really have them listed on the sheet and all that. But,
well, the funny thing is that on the play, the 2-point conversion, I didn't realize this until I listened to the guy talking about it on the air. You guys were in illegal motion anyway, so it wouldn't have counted even if you did it. Yeah, but yeah, and then obviously after the game they give all these awards out, and this is for all the players. Who's that guy?
I'm not sure. I think everybody got a watch.
Yeah,
that might have been before the game right there.
They said it was after the game because this is when they give you the MVP award. They give Dan Devine the trophy. And that is so weird, though, when you think about it, that they would have an award ceremony after the game with coats and ties and Coach Graves.
Yeah, I guess it was after the game. Yeah, there's a runner-up trophy.
Runner-up trophy. And there is. I think you're still the only player on the losing team to win the MVP.
Yeah.
Look how young you were, man.
Yeah. I was a junior that year, so I wasn't even 21.
All right. Well, I just wanted to show you that because that was
appreciate that.
That was really cool. When somebody sent me that, I thought it was really good. Obviously, we had a lot going on this weekend. A lot going on this week too. Softball, big win for them on Saturday and Sunday. And I texted Tim Walton, told him, "Hey, great job! You guys had a brutal loss the night before, but." He said, "Come see us this week because we got a tough schedule." And they do have a really tough. They got Texas coming in, and Texas is, I think they're 24-1. So
Texas is okay.
And usually it's Oklahoma.
Yeah, Oklahoma's usually they've won like 3 or 4 national championships in a row. Do they come to Gainesville this year, Oklahoma?
I think they do. Yeah,
you think
they do? Yeah.
We may need to go watch that one.
Yeah, well, there's going to be a lot of great games. I mean, this league is obviously really good, but and it's really good in basketball. And I know you watched the golf. Bay Hill, you were telling me about Arnold Palmer. You got to play twice with Arnold Palmer.
Yeah, I had some friends that were good friends with him. He actually came the night before we played Penn State in the Capital One Bowl down there. He came by and talked to our team because we had the night before dinner out at Bay Hill. The cafeteria, the restaurant type place there. But he talked to the team, made a nice little talk. And
it's for the 97?
97 game. And then I've had a chance to play with him once or twice. I think just once with another member there.
Yeah, he was my hero, man. I love that guy. Just a good dude. Really understood how to handle the media and how to handle the fans.
Oh yeah,
and bring everybody under the tent.
Yeah, and he would take pictures with everybody, sign autographs for everybody. He always had time for the fans.
Yep.
Yeah, wonderful guy.
He really did. All right, so are you ready for the SEC basketball tournament? Everybody says it's going to be the greatest tournament of all time, but at least
it is a good tournament. Don't get me wrong, but when they start playing for all the marbles, to me that's the biggest tournament.
It changes,
and they got like 68 teams that have a shot at it. So that in basketball is a big one. But again, the regular season SEC champ is the one that goes in the history book.
Right.
And by the way, who did win it?
Auburn
won it. That's right. Auburn won it. They beat Alabama.
Alabama beat them, but they had already clinched.
They had already clinched. That's what it was.
Yeah.
All right, so they're the regular season champs. Auburn is. That's right. And the tournament, it's nice to get the trophy and all that. But when they print out the record book, it'll say, it will say 2024 and 25 Auburn.
Yep, that's right. Yeah. Well, and that's the funny thing is we've talked about this a lot is how much effort do you want to put into this tournament. I was talking to Mark Wise yesterday about I said, what if Florida won the whole thing, the whole SEC tournament? Would they jump Houston? He said, yeah, I think they would, but that's the worst thing that could happen because you don't want to play 3 games if you're Florida. Well, what do you do though? You can't tell your guys don't play hard tonight. We're gonna
try to win it. Oh yeah, try to win everything. Just level of importance. The next tournament,
that's how you're going to be.
It's like playing for the SEC or playing for the division or playing your in-state rival, South Carolina, Clemson. It goes up the ladder. I asked Dabo Sweeney. They won the ACC this past year. Unbelievable. They weren't even supposed to be in it. And, of course, Miami got beat by Syracuse. So that knocked Miami out. And Clemson didn't play either one of those 2 teams. They sit back watching. We're in the championship game. And their guy kicked a 56-yard field goal to win it. So I asked him, I said, would you rather beat your in-state rival, South Carolina, or win the ACC? Win the ACC, of course. And that's the way all people look at, a championship is bigger than your in-state rival.
That's why
we lost to FSU so many times.
Yeah. No, that's
just kidding. They just beat us. We tried to beat
But that's why you always have said, 97 game was against FSU was great, but we didn't win anything that year. We didn't win any trophies that year. I mean, you won the bowl game, but I don't know where that trophy is. It's somewhere in the corner, I'm sure, over there. But you always have believed in winning championships, and I'm watching Dawn Staley celebrating on Sunday, and unbelievable. She was really into it, very happy. Again, they were playing a really good team. So what are you going to? You've got to tell your guys, ladies, let's go play. Let's go win a championship. Once you get to the championship, you got to go try to win it.
Oh, of course, all the way through. Well, every game that comes up, in my opinion, you try to win. And one of the best records for me personally is that we never lost to a non-Power 5 school. So we never lost to Central Florida or South Florida or Middle Tennessee State, a team that wasn't in a major conference.
Georgia Southern.
Yeah, we never lost to any of those guys. So that means our guys were ready to play just every game.
There was no question about that.
You've only got 12 or 13 a year.
I know.
People say it's hard to get up. I said, get up for 13 out of 365 days a year.
Right.
Yeah, you can get up that many times.
Well, that's what I tell the fans. I say, you only have so many, you have 6 or 7 opportunities a year. You better go to the game and have fun and go to your tailgate and have a great time. And most of them do. I mean, the crowds have been great. That's one thing about Florida fans is I was kind of down on them for a while, but they really have come forward. I mean, they've sold out multiple football games in a row. I don't know what the streak is, but it may end at Long Island this year. But and basketball had 8 sellouts in the SEC games. So fans are showing up. They're ready. They're ready to.
Yeah, the fans are there.
Going.
They're there for really all the sports in the SEC. It seems like right now.
Yep. Okay, let's see. You have anything, Coach, for us? Anything special?
Spring games, April 12th. I'm glad Billy Napier's still going to have the game. And some of these schools.
A lot of coaches aren't,
They're going to have passing and kicking contests, Nebraska said. I don't know.
You're going to go to that game?
I don't think I'm going to go to
I don't think you'll watch it on
TV
either.
Skill test, like the NFL does the skill test. But, baseball team is on the way. I think we've got a good shot for a big, big year. And ladies softball, obviously, also. So a lot of sports coming up here all summer.
Yeah, that softball team showed me something this weekend, and it brings us to our Campus USA play of the weekend. And even though they ended up losing this game, this was the play of the weekend where Kendra Falby goes up over. This would have been a grand slam. Would have been a grand slam. Instead, she robs it, and then they get it. They get the runner out at the plate. The other runner had scored to tie the game, but they tried to score.
She came all the way from second.
Yeah,
and threw her out.
Yep.
Man, that doesn't happen often.
Now,
I don't think I've ever seen that.
I told my wife, I said, I just saw the best double play I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
And that was.
Here it is again.
Yep. That was unbelievable. First of all, she saves a grand slam. It's 4 runs she saves right there, and then another run right here. So
man.
Just tremendous play. She is an All-American, and she is one of the best center fielders in all of college softball. So, I'm looking forward to watching those games this weekend. I'm looking forward to baseball. Baseball's got it tough. They got to go to Tallahassee and then go to the defending national champs in Knoxville and play those games. So it'll be interesting. And then
we've got the DJ Lagway event here tonight.
DJ Lagway tonight, yeah. And then
I think UF Health's involved with that.
They are, yeah. I know. I just saw Johnny Townsend out there, yeah. Talked to him for a little bit. And then the obviously the players. I'm looking forward to that. I got this question for Robbie on our yes, no, way, or maybe. Do you think Scotty Scheffler will three-peat at the Players?
You know, he hasn't won one yet this year, but he's still hitting it. He just barely missed a bunch of putts. Yeah, he barely missed a bunch this week, but he'll have a shot at it.
That's the thing about those greens at Bay Hill. It felt like nobody knew how to really read them. You know, they would look and they would go, I think I got this, but they were so fast that all you had to do was get a little too much break and boom, you know. I can't remember who it was on the next to last hole, hit his putt, and he said, I got to make this putt to have a chance, and he blew it way by, and, of course, he missed it coming back. It's just the greens were really
fast, that's true, and they will be over at Jacksonville, Sawgrass, TPC Sawgrass also.
Yeah, we don't want any rain. We could keep, I think it's going to be nice all weekend, so we got to be able to watch it. All right. We'll let Coach get out of here. We appreciate him as always. We'll be back with more on another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging from the Meldon Law Gator Studios right after this break.
Titan MRI, North Central Florida's premier independent diagnostic testing MRI facility. At Titan MRI, we're focused on you, the patient, having a great customer experience. Our MRI equipment is modern and 75% quieter than any unit in its class. And our MRI unit has one of the largest openings of any of the newer high-strength MRI units, which allows comfortable scanning for potential claustrophobic and larger patients. At Titan MRI, we look forward to serving you.
Adams Rib Company has been a staple of Gainesville for more than a decade and a staple of the Dooley house ever since Kelsey's teeth came in. The first time I walked into Adams, I told my daughter that the green beans are always a test of a great barbecue restaurant, and they were perfect. You know about the ribs that melt in your mouth, and my favorite, the turkey plate. But be sure to go in on Fridays for Nana's Fish Nuggets. They will melt in your mouth. Adams Rib Co., a Gainesville great.
Meldon Law has been serving personal injury victims since 1971. In those days, Jeffrey Meldon's presence as an attorney in the music scene dubbed him with the nickname the Hippie Attorney. And although times have changed, two things haven't: our commitment to bettering our community by helping the injured,
Albert, are you ready to go to the game?
and our love for the Florida Gators.
If you bleed orange and blue, Meldon Law is the firm for you.
Okay, and welcome back to another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. Always great to bring on my friend Robbie Andrew for Yes, No, Way, or Maybe. Robert, how was your weekend?
Good, Pat. How was yours?
I vegged out Saturday, man. I just sat and watched basketball all day, and a little bit of golf too. Yeah,
that was me too, Pat. That Alabama-Auburn game was a classic.
That was an unbelievable game. North Carolina Duke ended up being good. Obviously, the Florida game was good, not for normal people, but for me it was good.
Yeah, it was real good.
Although those announcers drove me crazy.
It was a fitting senior day for those guys.
Yeah, it was. Those announcers drove me crazy because somebody was in their ear saying, "Keep Leonardo on. This game's going to be a blowout." And so they were like, they weren't even talking about the game. So I finally muted them. But,
and did they really have to have him take up half the screen, Leonardo, while the game's going on? That didn't make any sense. You don't need to show his ugly mug.
He's a great guy, but it's not. He's definitely got a face made for radio, like you and I do.
Yeah, no question.
All right, let's play Yes, No, Way, or Maybe with Robert A. Andrew. And, of course, it is brought to you by Big Mill's Cheesesteak. Street dining done the right way. I was in there the other day. Had a great time. Always with Keith Miller. Appreciate him for being a sponsor. And, of course, he's also the sponsor of our Zoom line, which Robbie is coming to you on. Number one, Robbie, on Yes, No, Way, or Maybe, you are happy with the Vikings re-signing Aaron Jones.
Oh, absolutely, yes, Pat. I mean, you figure J.J. McCarthy, you're going to have a young quarterback starting for the first time in the NFL. You want a veteran presence back there. And this guy is a proven pass catcher, runner, very aggressive. I loved when he played for the Packers, and going into
Yep.
last year, I forgot that the Vikings had signed him. When I realized I had it, was like I was fired up about it. He had a great year, I thought, and he's a guy. He's a 3-down back. I mean, he catches the ball in the backfield. He's an excellent runner. He's a blocker, and that veteran presence back there is going to be worth a lot for the Vikings with a young quarterback.
Has Sam Darnold landed anywhere yet?
I don't think so, Pat. I mean, I was kind of torn on whether the Vikings should keep him or not, but then I went back to the 2 most important games of the year, and he just didn't get it done. So
yeah, end of the year.
Let's go with the young guy. Yeah, go with the young guy.
He started seeing those ghosts again, like he did.
Yeah.
Like he did with the Jets.
Yeah. In his defense, so he didn't get a lot of protection either. So.
No. Yeah, I mean they will be, I think, a dark horse pick to win the Super Bowl this year. But it's so weird how all these guys in the NFL, everybody's like signing big deals or trading guys or releasing good players because they got to get the cap right. And I'm just let me know who's playing where at the end of, when it's all done, because it'll drive you nuts otherwise.
Yeah. Where do you
it's
think
kind of
Aaron
like
Rodgers is going to end up?
I don't think he's going to play again. I don't know who would want him. I mean, why would he want to go to a team that he's got to kind of like the Jets, where he's got to kind of rescue him, and nobody that's really good really is going to want him to come in and be a backup, because you've got your starter set. If you want a backup to come in, he's going to be a distraction. So
yeah,
I don't think anybody's going to sign him. That's my.
But I did hear there is some speculation that the Steelers might try to pick him up. So
yeah, that would be but again, that would be the one place where you could go win. I mean, they obviously just got in the trade Lockett. So who? It was DK Metcalf. DK Metcalf. God, where'd Lockett go? Lockett went to the Raiders, right? And then Devontae Adams went to the Rams. Yep. I'm having a hard time keeping all this.
Now you got it. You got your receivers all lined up now.
Okay.
Lined up correctly.
Well, that's good. And Josh Allen just signed a huge deal too. So everybody's making millions of dollars, except me.
Except you and me.
Yep. All right, let's go to number 2, Robbie, on yes, nowhere, maybe. Scotty Scheffler. I asked Coach Spurrier about this. Scotty Scheffler, 3-peats at the Players' Championship. I'm
going to say just a maybe on this one, Pat. And, he was coming off that hand injury, the wrist injury, I think it was.
He cut it on the
he hadn't been himself so far this year. And, I mean, he struggled this weekend at Arnold's course. And, at times you thought maybe he'll rally and, come up with a great back nine, but it just isn't there yet. And, maybe he's getting closer, but I don't know if he's back to where his form was from a year ago. So I think it's going to be a difficult thing for him to win this weekend.
Well, it is a course where anybody can win, because it doesn't favor one style. It doesn't favor bombers. It doesn't favor straight hitters. It just favors who can get up and down a lot and make a lot of putts. And greens are going to be fast again, just like they were for Arnie's tournament.
Yeah, and this course, Pat, as you know, it's how you manage the game and how you manage that course. So you got to know when to go after pins and when to play it safe. You got to think your way around that golf course.
You mean like the time all I had to do was make a bogey on the last hole to break 80, and my dad said, just don't hit it in the water, and then I did.
So, of course, you hit it in the water.
Yeah, I'm like, Dad, why did you even say that? You put it in my head. Yeah.
You got like the no-hitter jinx put on you.
I know. I had a good quack hook there. Okay, number 3 on yes, nowhere, maybe for Robbie Andrew. Florida is a number 1 seed on Sunday.
I'm going to say yes, Pat. And, you and I have talked, last week we were talking about how what happens in the SEC tournament shouldn't really matter, that it should all be based on the regular season. If that's the case, Florida's definitely should be a number 1 seed. I mean, they beat the number 1 team in the country twice. They beat Auburn on the road when it was number 1. They beat Tennessee at home by 30 points. They won at Alabama. So, to me, they're sitting in one of those top 4 spots right now. And I don't see any reason to move them out. So, yeah, I think they will be.
Yeah, I mean, a lot will depend on what happens up there. But by the time they play Friday at 7 o'clock, those guys, that committee is going to be pretty much done with this thing. I mean, we know what happened last year where Florida got underseeded because they didn't want to work that hard. But we'll see what happens. All right, Robbie, we'll let you go.
Yeah, thanks, Pat. I'll talk to you. Hey, Pat, am I on the radio tomorrow or not?
You are on the radio tomorrow, whether you want to be or not.
Okay. I'll see you tomorrow then.
All right, see you then.
Okay, Pat, see you.
All right. Always appreciate having Robbie on. By the way, I looked it up during the break, and the other regional's Indianapolis. Lovely place to go, man. It is a great. I've been there several times, and certainly for Florida's first national championship was there. But so Indianapolis, San Francisco, Atlanta, and Newark are the 4 sites for the Sweet 16 Elite 8, and they're all the other sites, Cleveland and all this. I would think Florida will be in Raleigh. I don't have any question in my mind they'll be in Raleigh because they get to pick, and that's where they're going to want to go to get their fans there as well. And again, when you're the number 2 team and the best conference in the land, and barely number 2 and beat number 1, you're going to get your choice. That's the way it works. All right, let us get to our Hesser and Kipke 3 things. And, of course, Hesser and Kipke, the place to call for any of your workers' compensation or family law needs, 352-339-9920 or www.hklawfl.com. Call Ken and Jennifer over there. Let's get to 3 things. Number 1, Eddie George, the new head coach at Bowling Green. This is becoming a trend, isn't it? Where you see all these former players that you grew up watching, and now all of a sudden they're all being head coaches. Some of them are in high school, some of them are in college, some of them are, probably, obviously Dion is the most known. But it's not like this has never happened before. All the guys that are coaching, been coaching the last 15, 20 years, 30 years, whatever, played somewhere. Most of them did. Some of them didn't, but very few of them didn't. I mean, we know Saban played at Kent State, and Coach Spurrier played at Florida, obviously. But a lot of these guys, Napier played at Furman. I mean, they played football. It's almost though more guys that were NFL stars are becoming head coaches, and they've got the cachet to get the job and then to keep the job by winning games because they can get better players in there. Now, it's still going to come down to NIL money, but it is interesting to see him go to Bowling Green, just taking another step. Just keep taking steps up, and pretty soon he'll be in a Power 5 job. Number 2 on the Hesser and Kipke 3 things, not so good news for another coach, and that was Kevin Keats, the coach at NC State in basketball, got fired 1 year after going to the Final Four. Cutthroat, man. But you know what it reminded me of? Was Dennis Felton. Dennis Felton was the coach at Georgia during the year of the tornado, and I was there for that. And they had to go play at Georgia Tech, and they won 4 straight games, 2 of them in one day, including beating Kentucky. And they won they were going to fire Dennis Felton, but they won the SEC. They got it, put him in the NCAA tournament, so they didn't fire him. And then the next year they had to fire him because he just wasn't a good coach. Kevin Keats, I felt the same way about. They had this miraculous run last year, and they gave him an extension, and they gave him more money, and now his buyout, I think, ended up being $7 million, which is chicken feed in this day and age, which is amazing to say. But look, they were bad again this year. They were going to fire him last year. They were talking about firing him last year. He makes this run, very Dennis Felton-like. The next year they fire him. Again, good guy. I don't have anything against him, but I'm not surprised that he got fired. Finally, on Hesser and Kipke's 3 things, LeBron James out for 1 to 2 weeks, which means I don't have to hear all these guys in the mornings on the ESPN networks talking about LeBron. Oh, wait, I will have to listen to that because they'll talk about what they're missing with LeBron being out every day. It is, hey, look, I get that the NBA and the NFL fund ESPN. I get all that, but it just gets annoying to never talk about college sports ever on those wake up and get up or whatever they are, first take, second take, third take, take 2. It's just they never want to talk about college sports. Maybe they will during the tournament. No, they won't. What are they missing with LeBron out? All right, that is our Hesser and Kipke 3 things. Let us move along to our BMI TeleMed Overachiever of the week. BMI TeleMed, the place to go for weight loss. I'm on it right now and excited about it, and I've already dropped a couple pounds, so I'm going to get back down to my fighting weight. But again, if you want to sponsor me, I am BMI TeleMed's already given $5 for every pound I lose to the Florida Victorious. If you want to sponsor me as well, You can do it. Just say, I want to give $1 for every pound Dooley loses to Florida Victorious. All you got to do is text me, call me. You know how to reach me. It's not hard. All right, our BMI TeleMed Overachiever of the weekend, Myles Garrett. All right, Myles Garrett says, I want to go play for a winner. I don't want to be here. I want to be traded. Instead, Cleveland says, we're going to give you $40 million a year. We're not going to trade you. Okay, I'll take that. I don't care that much about being a winner. I care more about making a lot of money. It's a weird move to me. Myles Garrett is obviously a legend up there in Cleveland. They love him up there. They didn't want to lose him, and I get that part of it. But you're not going to win Super Bowls by overpaying defensive ends, pass rushers. They're important. Don't get me wrong, and he's a great player, no doubt about it. Former Aggie, but it does seem like a little bit excessive for a guy like that. The trouble with the Cleveland is they have no idea what they're doing in any part of it, so they'll probably just screw this up too. Anyway, that's our BMI TeleMed Overachiever of the week, and let us get to our Adams Ribco Gators of the weekend, and it's Gators plural because I'm putting those 3 seniors as our Gators of the weekend. You could not go out better than they did. Did I mention this earlier? I was talking about Billy Donovan and Udonis Haslem. I didn't mention that earlier, did I? I don't think I did. No. So because I'll never forget this. It was senior day for Udonis Haslem, 2022. And Billy was literally almost physically ill before the game. He told me afterwards, he goes, I thought I was going to throw up. I just was so afraid that we weren't going to win. They were playing Arkansas, I think. I can't remember who it was, but they were playing somebody. Didn't really matter. It was an SEC game. And it was a tough game, 68-62. I looked up Tennessee is who they were playing. And Tennessee wasn't that good yet. They hadn't gotten good yet. So they're playing Tennessee. And I think Tennessee was around 500, but he was worried about it. And it was a tight game. They played great defense like they do now. And at the end of the game, Udonis got a breakaway dunk layup, 2-handed slam. I'll never forget it. And that's the way he went out, and that was perfect. To this day, Billy will argue with me that Udonis Haslem is the best player in Florida history. Now, we haven't had that argument since some of these other guys have come through, like Al Horford, who I might put number 1. But I would say Neil Walk. And he go, I never saw him play duels, but he's not better than UD. Look at all the games UD's won. I go, yeah. I'm glad they both came to Florida. That's the bottom line. Anyway, those 3 seniors, Walter Clayton, Elijah Martin, and Will Richard, are our Gators of the weekend, sponsored by Adams Ribco. Appreciate Adam and appreciate those seniors, man. I hope they have a good tournament. I really do, for their sake. Not for our sake, but for their sake. I mean, and it was great that they had a great senior day, too. Okay, let us move along to our Gallo Car Wash Sponge of the weekend. And we were hoping to have the video of this, but we've been having some video problems. But it was Kendra Falby again, who made a diving catch in the last inning, the 7th inning, up 2 runs. She's just, and people were actually putting on Twitter, Kendra Falby is not human. And that's the way I felt. She's a sponge. She gets everything. You hit it over the fence, I'll catch it. You hit it 5 feet off the infield, I'll catch it. Wherever you hit it, I'm going to catch it. She is an amazing player, and Florida is happy to have her, believe me. So they are our Gallo Car Wash. And I was at Gallo Car Wash Friday. Went there and got my car cleaned up. And it was fun. I had a good time. It's different going there because you put your car on the thing and you got to take your hands off the wheel, foot off the brake, and you're like nervous. And then all of a sudden the soap is all in the front, and you're like, I can't see. Well, so you immediately grab your steering wheel, and then that screws things up, and you got to start over again. That's me, though. That's a me problem, not a they problem. Let's move along to our Los Linderos Tequila Smooth Move of the weekend. Looking forward to seeing Carr Scott. He's going to be here tonight for the DJ Lagway event, and looking forward to seeing him. And I'm going to make the smooth move is Sully's decision to start Aiden King in Game 2 against Harvard. And I'm guessing probably this week too. Probably start him against Tennessee, which is going to be really tough. But that kid is really good. Freshman had pitched 6 shutout innings and struck out 8. Now, I know that they're not great, but still, get the ball over the plate, man. That's the thing. And he throws strikes, and it's a lot of fun to watch. So that is either the decision, the smooth move of the weekend, or playing those 3 games in 2 days might have been a smooth move too. Because all I know is they could have played Sunday. Now they were going by what the weather forecast was, and the actual weather turned out to be okay. But we appreciate Los Landeros tequila, and I have tried Los Landeros tequila. It's very good, very, very good to me. Okay, let's get to our Leonardo's at Millhopper quick picks. We're going to give you 2. This is our last qualifier, and then we'll pull a winner on Thursday, and you'll win $25 at Leonardo's. And the qualifier is going to be a tough one. It's going to be hard. I'm not going to make it easy for you. You got to get both right. I'm going to say both right to qualify, because we got a lot of qualifiers. We got a lot of people getting involved. Florida FSU baseball. FSU, by the way, is 15-0, just so you know. And Mississippi State LSU basketball. That game is, of course, on Wednesday up in Nashville. And so that's 2 games you got to pick, and you got to get them both right to qualify. And you know how to get a hold of me. Patrick Dooley 54 at gmail.com is how you get those picks into me. And then we'll make a pull on Thursday for a new winner. Looking forward to it. Also want to talk about the Gainesville Quarterback Club, which is coming up very soon with their first meeting. Well, not their first meeting. We already had one meeting, but their second meeting of the year. And it should be a great one. Billy Napier will be speaking. It'll be at the Touchdown Terrace. If you want to go, you can go. Just join on a special trial membership for $250, and you get to see Billy Napier. Then you get to see Laura Rutledge. Then you get to see Billy Donovan. I don't know how you could ask for much more than that. And you get to see me every weekend, or every Tuesday. And that's not exciting. That's not going to sell anything. But Napier, Rutledge, Donovan. That should sell some tickets. So if you want to get involved in it, you have to be a member of the club to go to the Napier event. So go ahead and join. I know a lot of people have been joining, so that's really cool that's been happening. But very easy to join. Just go to the website and you can join the Gainesville Quarterback Club, the oldest Gator club in the entire world and Canada. All right, let's move along to our Hugh, Cain, Allstate Mayhem moment. The Gator Nation is in good hands with local Allstate agent Hugh Cain. Stop by Alachua Marketplace Plaza in Alachua and get a free quote today. Hey, I don't know how many of you are watching this live, but here's the chip shot heard around the world of golf. That was Russell Henley, the former Georgia Bulldog, and you're just hoping he can get it close. Instead, what? Does it go in or not? I'm trying to figure out.
It does.
It eventually goes in. It's but it's like when he hit it, you're like, oh, that's going to go way past the hole. And I think he was looking at it too. But that was a mayhem moment. The funny thing is, Russ Henley is one of these guys who was so nervous. He talked about it afterwards. He showed no emotion when he made it. He's just like, it was just like a typical golf. I wish these guys would show more emotion, but he likes to keep it bottled up, and then when he was done, he just kind of like almost weeping. And his kids were running on the court, on the field, on the green, and his wife was there. Really cool moment. I'm not rooting against any Bulldogs. I'd rather have a Gator winning, but my man Billy Horschel shot 79 the first round, so that was out. He did come back and shoot 71 the last round. But that course was really tough and a lot of fun to play. But that's our Hugh Cain Allstate Mayhem moment. Let us get to our Swamp Games of the Week as we wrap up the show, and we appreciate everybody for listening or watching. Let us get to our Swamp Games of the Week, brought to you by The Swamp, and of course that's the place to watch all these games. Oh, that place is going to be buzzing for March Madness next week, and it's probably be buzzing a lot for the SEC tournament. I'm sure on Friday night, a lot of people will be there for that 7 o'clock game, and they've got some great drink specials and great food. Great food there. All right, let's start off with Tuesday baseball. Okay, there's something called the ACC NX, and I assume it's like ESPN Plus or SEC Plus, but it's I don't know that I have it. That's how you have to watch the game. It's an ACC Network Plus. Now, they made it an X, so maybe they're just, it's like what the Nazis did with the swastika, or the swastika was supposed to be a cross that was reconfigured. I think maybe that's what the ACC is doing with this. They're taking the plus and making it an X. But anyway, if you can watch it on Tuesday, it's 6:30 start for the. I think it's a 6 o'clock start. I think. It is. Yeah, for the Gator game. So I'm hoping I have it somewhere. I'm just gonna say it into my phone or my remote and hope it comes up. Wednesday softball playing UCF. I mentioned that earlier. That's gonna be a really good game. That's on SEC Plus at 6 o'clock. That's good. We get out early for the tailgate both days. And then the ACC tournament starts Wednesday. A lot of games there. I'm not going to go through them all. But the SEC, I did want to go through. Wednesday starts Arkansas, South Carolina at 1. Vandy, Texas at 3:30. That'll be an interesting game. Texas really needs to win that game. Mississippi State, LSU at 7. And then Georgia, Oklahoma at 9:30. Those will be all great games. They'll be fun to watch. Oh, look, this league is really good. The games are going to be great. There's going to be great players in every game on both sides, and that's the great thing about this league right now. The tournament's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait for it. It's just a lot of fun to watch these tournaments because, again, it's not life or death, but you still, there's some teams that really need to win, but I really think Texas might be the only, maybe Texas and Oklahoma are the only two teams that need to win. Oklahoma beat Texas in Austin on Saturday. Or no, that was actually in, I think it was in, what do they call it? Norman. I can't remember. I watched so much basketball Saturday. I watched 10 hours of basketball, and then I watched more the next day. Watched Michigan State, Michigan. Watched all these other games, weird games. Watched some of the Nebraska game. I watched a lot of golf, too. Anyway, that is going to do it for another show. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll be back on Thursday with Matt McCall. Look forward to talking to him about what's going on in college basketball. And I appreciate Zach for doing a great job of trying to figure out what to do after I sent him all this stuff from Twitter. And then Twitter went down today. I don't know what Elon's doing over there, but it went down. So we haven't been able to get some of it up, but appreciate him finding all this stuff. We'll be back again Thursday. Until then, I am Pat Dooley for another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. I am deep, I'm way back, and I am out of here.